Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now, if you follow me, you know my last couple of videos, I was making things to send to my great nieces and nephews. I made a couple of Barbie shirts, I made some water bottles, and today I'm going to show you how I made this shirt. Now, I made this using the DTF Sublimation Hack, as well as an image I got from Creative Fabrica. Now, if you're not familiar with the DTF Sublimation Hack, what it is you use DTF film, DTF powder, but instead of a DTF printer, you use a sublimation printer. Now, it is a hack, so it's not a perfect replication. You do have to be really careful about the color of the shirt, the colors of the ink, but you can still get some awesome projects. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. If you do, tap the bell and then make sure you have the all notifications selected so that YouTube lets you know anytime I upload new content. So here's the main things that I'm going to use on this project. I'm going to use some Yamation transfer film. This is DTF transfer film, but I'm using a sublimation printer. I'm using Yamation DTF transfer powder. Now this is the fine. They have fine, medium, and coarse. I have a shirt for my great nephew, and then I have some butcher paper. To print my image, I'm using an Epson EcoTank 15000, and it has Hippo sublimation ink in it. Despite the various things I've tried, the only way I've been successful at getting the DTF film to go through my printer is to tape it to a piece of printer paper. So here's the image, and I think it looks really pretty good. There's barely any roller marks on it. Now I have some butcher paper under my image to catch the excess DTF powder. That way, when I'm done, I can put that powder right back in the container and use it again. Now I like to use a glove for the hand that's going to reach in here. So let me go ahead and powder this, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my print. So I'm going to be very generous and sprinkle a lot on here. Now sublimation ink doesn't dry super fast. So you have a little bit of time to work with this, but I would always just powder them as soon as they come off the printer. All right, so I got most of it covered. Now I'm just going to put this back and forth so that it covers all of the black ink. And I'm going to do this maybe 5 or 6 times. Now I can see I didn't get all those globs broken up, but I think it's going to be fine. I also see I don't have a lot of the roller marks, but I have a really long one there, so we'll deal with that. All right, that is probably good. So I can get most of that excess powder directly in there. Then I'm going to tap it to get the rest off. Now I wanted to show you, I have these little silicone things in here, or silica. Those are like the things you get in your shoe boxes. And so I just taped a couple in there to try to keep the moisture at bay. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut my image free. I have a lot of excess space here. Otherwise, I would just wait until after I cure this. Now, when I'm done with the video, I will go ahead and I'll put the rest of this powder back in the container. But for now, since I want to get this cured, I'm just going to move it over to the side. So off the white backing, here's what it looks like. And you can see the powder is like little crystals of sugar. Now this next part, I actually got this idea from Crystal Ann, and I love it. I used to just put them under my heat press. This is so much faster. The heat is more directly on it. I just love using this. Now, if your image is so large, maybe you want to put it under your heat press, but this image isn't, so I'm going to go ahead and put this at 385, and I'm not concerned about how many seconds. I'm just going to watch it until I think it's ready. Now the reason I'm going to let this get to 385 is because that's about the temperature you need for your sublimation ink to activate. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Now use gloves if you're not comfortable doing it this way. Then also, I want the top to be fairly level. I'm going to put a piece of computer paper on top just to protect the press. You could use butcher paper, computer paper, it really doesn't matter. And then even though it's not up to 385 yet, I'm going to go ahead and put my image up there. It's not going to hurt it. Now with the heat, I can see it's kind of curling a little bit. So you can take something and just hold it down. Another thing I've even done, let me move it off so I can grab it. Another thing I've even done is if the top is humped up, I'll grab the sides and put the middle down. I meant to say if the middle was humped up. All right, I'm just going to let it do its thing for a minute, and you can see, look at that turning. And we're not even up to 385 yet. There's two things happening. That ink is activating and the adhesive is melting. All right, I'm making it where the tree is flat on the press. That's going to help that melt. And then I can see the mountain up there needs a little bit more. And then right over there. Then it looks like down here by the south, that needed just a little bit more too. All right, now I can see those little wheel marks coming through. This is done. I'm going to let it cool off for just a minute. Then I'm going to hold it up so you can see it really well. All right, now you don't want to touch this until it's cooled down a little bit because you don't want it to be liquidy when you touch it. This is perfectly fine. I can rub my finger across it. It's not going to do anything. But now that that ink popped, you can see some wheel marks or roller marks going down this image. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to cut away what I can, and then what I can't cut away, I will scrape off the adhesive with this little weeding tool. All right, so it printed in this direction, so there should be none above here. Let's see where they start. All right, so I've cut a lot away, so I can see I have a little in there, and then I have a few down here. The worst one was right here. So what I do is I go ahead and scrape away the adhesive. By doing that, there's no adhesive to stick the ink down to the shirt. So once I've done that, I want to feel and see if I feel any of the adhesive there, because you are still going to have a little bit of staining, and it's just that the film is getting stained. Okay, I think I have that pretty well. Again, you're going to see a little bit of staining. I don't think that's going to show up on the shirt. There's no adhesive there, and I think it's truly just the film that's stained. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and preheat my shirt. I want to remove any moisture that might be in it. Now notice that the collar is not up on the pad of the press. I don't want to press on that collar. My heat press is set at 325. I'm going to pre-press for 15 seconds. Now I have a lot of pressure on the shirt. I find that with this DTF hack that works best. Now you don't really need heat tape on this, but I'm going to tape it down just so it doesn't shift when I turn my shirt. Now I'm going to cover this with a piece of paper just to protect my press. Sometimes I feel grains of that adhesive on the back of the film because it was all over my desk. So I'm going to put a piece of paper down, press this for 15 seconds at 325 for really firm pressure. Now when that time's up, I'm going to wait 10 seconds. That's what the instructions say. And then I'm going to go ahead and peel the film off. So right now, this feels pretty good. It's smooth, I can barely feel it, but I'm going to go ahead and do a second press. I'm going to put parchment paper over it, and I'm going to press it 10 seconds. That really makes it kind of melt into the fibers of the fabric. All right, let's take this over to the table and get a really good look at it. All right, here's the shirt. It does not get better than that. That feels wonderful. It looks wonderful. It's a really cute image that I got off of Creative Fabrica. Now, if you're interested in this image, I'll go ahead and put a link to it in the video description, so check that out. But let me give you a really close look. And then look, that's where the worst roller marks were. I don't see anything. Now I have a second shirt that I need to make for my other great nephew, so I'm going to jump off of here, get it done, and get him to the post office. Thank you so much for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.